1773 में रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट आता है एंड द रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट बिकम्स द फर्स्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डेवलपमेंट स्टेज. Under this act, the dual government in Bengal gets over. बंगाल में दोहरी शासन व्यवस्था समाप्त हो जाती है. पूरी तरह से अब कंपनी के हाथ में, ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के हाथ में बंगाल का शासन आ जाता है. द सेकेंड step towards constitutional development was in 1781, and by the Act of 1781, the East India Company of Great Britain gets the power to make laws related to Bihar, Bengal and Orissa. The third step was the Pitt's India Act of 1784, and its main objective was to establish control of the British government on the functioning of the East India Company of Great Britain and to save the reputation of the East India Company of Great Britain in India. Next stage was the Act of 1786. By this act, an effort was made to establish the control of the Governor General on the Council of the Governor General. And the Governor General of the East India Company was given power to overrule the decisions of the council. The next stage was the Charter Act number 1. We have to remember here, we must remember here rather, हमें इस बात को अच्छे से ध्यान में रखना है कि चार्टर एक्ट हर 20 साल के बाद आते थे और चार्टर एक्ट की शुरुआत 1793 में हुई. The first Charter Act was introduced in India in 1793, and after every 20 years, a Charter Act was introduced. And the last Charter Act was introduced in 1753. Okay, so first Charter Act 1793. The Charter Act of 1793 reorganized the East India Company of Great Britain in India. This was the main aim of the Charter Act of 1793. The second Charter Act was introduced in India in 1813. And by this Charter Act, the monopoly of the East India Company on trade in India was denied, was made over. 1813 के चार्टर एक्ट ने भारत में ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के व्यापार का मोनोपोली राइट खत्म कर दिया. और इसके बाद एक और बड़ी बात हुई. वो बात क्या थी? वो बात थी कि इट वॉज डिसाइडेड बाय द ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी to spend rupees 1 lakh every year on the spread of education in India. The next Charter Act was in 1833, and the main objective of this Charter Act was to consolidate the power and position of the East India Company in India. The last Charter Act was introduced in 1853, and the provisions of the Charter Act of 1853 were entirely based on the recommendations of Lord Dalhousie. Remember, Lord Dalhousie was famous for the policy of lapse, the doctrine of lapse. the Government of India Act 1858. And by this act, the rule of the East India Company on India was over. The East India Company was made to do business only now in India. Okay. The post of Governor General was abolished and the post of Viceroy was created. Another post, the Secretary of State, was created in Britain. The term Viceroy means on behalf of, means the Viceroy was ruling India on behalf of the Crown. This is clear, I think. Okay. So, Lord Canning was the last Governor General of the East India Company in India. And he was appointed as the first Viceroy of British India. I think this is also clear. This was under the provision of the Government of India Act 1858. After that, in 1861, the Indian Council Act was introduced. And the main objective of this Indian Council Act was decentralization of power, decentralization of British power in British India. Then in 1876, SHAHI UPADHI Act was introduced, and in 1892, Indian Council Act was introduced. Another Council Act was introduced in 1909. It is also famous as the Morley-Minto Reforms Act. This Morley-Minto Reforms Act, or the Indian Council Act of 1909, was protested by the Indian National Congress because it had made the provision of separate electorate. It means reservation of seats for Muslims in the Central Legislative Council under the British. Then the Muslim League was very happy with it. An Indian member was included in the Viceroy's Executive Council, and the first Indian member introduced in that Viceroy's Executive Council was Satyendra Prasanna Sinha, or S.P. Sinha. Then in 1919, the Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms Act, or Government of India Act 1919, was introduced. Under this act, a provision was made, and the provision was decentralization, of course. And it was decided that after 10 years, the effectiveness of the Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms Act was to be analyzed, reviewed. Then in 1927, Simon Commission. It was protested because all 7 members in the Simon Commission were Europeans, were British. No Indian member was there in the commission, and that is why Simon go back, or go back Simon, this slogan was raised. At Lahore, there was a lathi charge, and Lala Lajpat Rai was injured in that, and ultimately he died also. Then in 1928, Motilal Nehru report was published, and this is considered to be the first major step towards making of the Constitution of India. The Indian leaders who were members in the Motilal Nehru Committee had drafted a constitution for the British to rule India. The next major step was Karachi Session of Congress 1931. In this session of Congress, the leaders of the Indian National Congress discussed, debated, what kind of constitution India was going to have. The Motilal Nehru Committee report of 1928 and the Karachi session of Congress resolution 1931 both had three things very important. Number one, the universal adult franchise. Number two, right to freedom and equality to all. And number three, protection of all types of minorities in India. The next major step was the Government of India Act 1935. Actually, this act established the federal structure of India, future India. The last major step was the Cabinet Mission Plan. In 1939, the Second World War started. At that time, George VI was the British Emperor and Mr. Winston Churchill was the British Prime Minister. Under the leadership of Lord Clement Attlee, Labour Party emerged to popularity. And this Labour Party won the elections in Britain. Lord Clement Attlee became the Prime Minister. And after becoming the Prime Minister, he decided to give independence to India. For that purpose, he sent a commission to India in 1946. This commission is popular as the Cabinet Mission Plan. In this Cabinet Mission Plan, he sent three persons: Sir Pethick Lawrence, A.V. Alexander, and Stafford Cripps. Pethick Lawrence was the Secretary of State for India. Stafford Cripps was the President of the Board for Trade in India. A.V. Alexander was the First Lord of Admiralty. We must remember, at that time Lord Wavell was the Viceroy in India. The main objective of the Cabinet Mission Plan, as declared by Lord Clement Attlee, was to transfer power from British India to the leaders of India at that time. But the Cabinet Mission Plan was actually looking for two things. Number one, what kind of government Indians wanted at that time. Number two, what kind of constitution Indians wanted to make. The Cabinet Mission Plan, after analyzing the things, after reviewing the things, after understanding the things in India at that time, recommended universal adult franchise based Constituent Assembly for making of the Constitution of India. But it was decided to use the provincial assemblies in British India at that time as the electoral body. It means the provincial assemblies in the British India elected the members of the Constituent Assembly of India. In the month of July 1946, elections were held. And on the basis of these elections, a Constituent Assembly was constituted. It consisted of 389 members total. 292 members were elected from the provincial assemblies and 93 members were nominated by the princely states. 4 members were nominated from the chief commissioners' areas. But remember, on 14th August 1947, Pakistan was created, and on 15th August 1947, India got independence. So, naturally, the number of members in the Constituent Assembly of India got reduced from 389. Now, there were only 299 members in the Constituent Assembly of India. Remember, 299 members. On 9th December 1946, the first meeting of the Constituent Assembly of India was held. In that meeting, that was the first meeting. In that meeting, Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was nominated as the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly of India. On 13 December 1946, the objective proposal was introduced by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the permanent president of the Constituent Assembly of India. Professor B.N. Rao became the chief advisor of the Constituent Assembly of India. Professor H.C. Mukherjee, it's a very famous name. He was elected as the deputy president or vice president of the Constituent Assembly of India. Frank Anthony was an Anglo-Indian member in the Constituent Assembly of our country. And H.P. Modi, Harmosji Firoz Shah Modi, was a Parsi member in the Constituent Assembly of our country. The most famous committee was the drafting committee. The drafting committee was chaired by Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. On 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly of India accepted the Constitution of India, which was drafted by the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly of India, and on 26 January 1950, the Constitution was introduced to the nation. India became a republic. The question is, what is a republic? When the head of the state is an elected person and the post of the head is not hereditary, it is a republic. The head of a state in India, as per Constitution of India, is the President of India. And the President of India is an elected post. This post is not hereditary, so India is a republic. And India became a republic on 26 January 1950. It means the Constituent Assembly of India took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days time to frame the Constitution of India. We all should be proud of our Constitution. We all should honor our Constitution, respect our Constitution, and above all, we should follow our Constitution. Originally in the Constitution of India, when the Constitution of India was introduced on 26 January 1950, at that time, in the Constitution of India, there were 8 schedules, 18 parts, and 395 articles. At present, in our Constitution, we do have 12 schedules, 25 parts, and more than 448 articles. We have amended our constitution many times, but the preamble of the constitution has been amended only once, and that was in 1976, amendment number 42, to add 3 new words to the preamble: socialist, secular, and integrity. I hope all of us have understood the constitutional development of India and the making of the Constitution of India. Thank you very much. God bless you all. We are coming up next with the features of the Constitution of India.